أوروبا الجديدة هي الشرق الأوسط.
Saudi Arabia's quest for regional conquest. In a gripping tale of ambition and controversy, Mohammed bin Salman has transformed Saudi Arabia's image from hosting top-class esports events to the grandest golf tournament the world has ever seen. His 2030 vision promises a big leap into the modern world, where women can drive, businesses can thrive, and rights are respected.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Mega city. $8 billion mega project.
Vision 2030.
Saudi Arabia is building an ambitious futuristic city entirely from scratch.
But many people believe behind this plan is a strategy to change how the West sees Saudi Arabia and reduce its dependence on oil. Some hail him as a revolutionary leader, while others accuse him of being a dictator. Now, amidst global problems, he's ready to make Saudi Arabia a powerful player in world politics. This is the story of today's Saudi Arabia, a nation of paradoxes. In the early 1900s, King Abdulaziz united these lands, laying the foundation for the modern Saudi Arabia. Then, in 1938, everything changed. Oil in huge quantities was discovered. This desert nation, practically overnight, became a global energy powerhouse. Money started flowing in like an unstoppable river. Royalties from oil companies, initially modest, skyrocketed with the post-World War II economic boom. During the 60s, 70s, and 80s, Saudi Arabia was swimming in petrodollars. The national budget ballooned as oil accounted for over 90% of government revenue. In 1960, Saudi Arabia played a pivotal role in establishing the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, a group of major oil-producing nations. This move proved highly influential, especially during the 1973 oil crisis.
The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries imposed its boycott and within a year raised prices more than 300%.
Between 1973 and 1981, the price of a barrel of oil skyrocketed from $3 to nearly $12. This dramatic increase fueled rapid economic growth in Saudi Arabia, with its GDP multiplying from approximately $15 billion to a staggering $184 billion. This period also saw a shift in ownership of the crucial oil industry. Over time, the Saudi government strategically acquired assets from the Arabian American Oil Company, or Aramco. By 1980, complete nationalization was achieved, and Saudi Aramco, a fully state-owned company, was established to manage the nation's oil reserves and production. This financial jackpot wasn't just numbers on a page, it was a societal game changer. Basic necessities like healthcare and education became readily available. Infrastructure projects like roads, hospitals, and universities sprung up across the country. Gone were the days of relying solely on pilgrimage tourism. Saudi Arabia was on the fast track to modernization. But this rapid influx of wealth wasn't without its challenges. The government, unaccustomed to such riches, grappled with managing the funds effectively. Luxurious projects competed with essential services, and income inequality widened. Social structures shifted as traditional ways of life faced the allure of a consumerist society. The impact wasn't confined to Saudi Arabia's borders. Its newfound wealth made it a major player on the global stage. It invested heavily in other countries, influenced international organizations, and became a key supplier of oil to thirsty economies. Its decisions resonated from Wall Street to Tokyo, making the kingdom a force to be reckoned with. Now, speaking of Wall Street, America and Saudi have a rather interesting relationship. Their story began in the 1930s, fueled by America's growing thirst for oil and Saudi Arabia's vast reserves. Formal relations blossomed, peaking in the 1950s with a crucial pact: stable oil supply at favorable prices in exchange for American military aid and protection. This alliance solidified during the Cold War, uniting them against Soviet influence in the Middle East. However, the 1979 Iranian Revolution and the rise of Islamic extremism cast a shadow. Tensions simmered as concerns over Saudi support for radical groups emerged. particularly after the 9/11 attacks.
Today, we've had a national tragedy. Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
The 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq further complicated the partnership, raising Saudi anxieties about regional instability. Despite these challenges, the war on terror brought renewed cooperation against terrorism and shared threats. Yet, the 2015 U.S.-Iran nuclear deal created friction.
Today, after 2 years of negotiations, a comprehensive long-term deal with Iran that will prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
With Saudi Arabia wary of Iran's growing influence. The 2018 assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi significantly strained relations, drawing a sharp focus on human rights concerns. Today, the US-Saudi relationship remains complex. Cooperation in security and energy persists, yet tensions linger over human rights, regional power dynamics, and differing strategic visions. But there's a key player who strikes that perfect balance between Saudi Arabia and America. Enter Mr. Everything, Mohammed bin Salman. The rise of Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, has ignited both fascination and controversy. His bold vision for the kingdom's future, encapsulated in the ambitious Vision 2030 plan, promises sweeping reforms, economic diversification, and a renegotiated relationship with the United States.
لعمل رؤية 2030 لكي نزيل التحديات اللي تواجهنا ولكي نستغل الفرص الغير مستغلة.
Yet it unfolds against a backdrop of human rights concerns and unanswered questions about his leadership style. Mohammed bin Salman's journey to power was swift. In 2015, he became defense minister, launching a decisive intervention in Yemen's civil war. Then in 2017, he ultimately became crown prince, sidelining his elder cousin. This rapid ascent raised eyebrows, particularly abroad due to his young age and overambition. Mohammed bin Salman has actively worked to reshape the US-Saudi relationship, traditionally defined by security cooperation and oil access. He embarked on a high-profile US visit in 2018, securing arms deals and advocating for a tougher stance on Iran. However, the brutal assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul later that year severely strained relations. The US Senate condemned the Saudi government.
Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is responsible for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi.
And bipartisan criticism of the prince intensified. Despite the Khashoggi fallout, bin Salman has pressed ahead with ambitious domestic reforms. His vision for Saudi Arabia draws inspiration from Dubai's model of rapid modernization and economic diversification. However, while some reforms resonate with the public, others raise concerns about his methods and authoritarian tendencies. Inspired by Dubai's success in tourism and entertainment, he lifted the ban on women driving, opened cinemas, and eased restrictions on public gatherings. These moves aim to attract foreign investment and create a more vibrant atmosphere, similar to Dubai's cosmopolitan image. His Vision 2030 plan echoes Dubai's focus on non-oil sectors like tourism and technology. However, unlike Dubai's gradual reforms, bin Salman's approach is often swift and forceful, cracking down on corruption within the elite, often seen as a necessary step, garnered mixed reactions. He launched a major anti-corruption purge in 2017, arresting many wealthy Saudis, including princes and ministers. While some consider it a power grab or a reform effort, it drew concerns of human rights violations. The purge concluded in 2019, and Saudi Arabia's corruption level has shown slight improvement since then. While some celebrated the dismantling of entrenched power structures, others criticized the methods, including arbitrary arrests and detentions. This raises the issues of his authoritarian tactics. While reforms like allowing women in sports and concerts are applauded, concerns linger about increased surveillance, restrictions on free speech, and the silencing of dissent. This approach, reminiscent of Dubai's tightly controlled security, contradicts the promise of openness and inclusivity inherent in many reforms. Now, the centerpiece of bin Salman's ambition is Vision 2030, a strategic plan aiming to diversify the Saudi economy away from oil dependence. Some key goals are developing tourism, technology, and renewable energy. Mega projects like NEOM, a futuristic smart city, showcase this ambition. Increasing foreign investment by relaxing regulations and promoting private sector growth are crucial to attracting foreign capital. Empowering Saudi youth by investing in education and skills development. From all these, we can clearly see a pattern of bin Salman's aim to diversify Saudi's economy and reduce dependency on oil. You want to know what else is diverse? Our videos. If you're enjoying it so far, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell because we've got lots of things coming for you. Let's take a break from all that serious stuff, okay? Saudi Arabia's latest export is actually sports. The kingdom has transformed from a spectator nation to a major player, shaking up the global sporting landscape with bold investments and ambitious goals.
Newcastle, it's Newcastle United.
Newcastle's.
I'm going to stop here because
The Newcastle United supporters have got what they have wanted.
the biggest story in the Premier League over the last couple of weeks is undoubtedly the takeover at Newcastle United.
In October 2021, Saudi Arabia bought Newcastle FC. And then, on January 1st, 2023, Cristiano Ronaldo traded the bright lights of Madrid for the sands of Riyadh. His astronomical transfer to Al Nassr marked a symbolic moment showcasing Saudi Arabia's intent to attract sporting superstars. But it's not just about the big names, it's about building a proper sporting ecosystem. Mega events like the Dakar Rally and Formula One races already roar across the Saudi deserts. Luxurious golf courses host international tournaments, such as PIF Saudi International, attracting the world's best swingers. Even esports has seen Saudi Arabia establish its own league, called the Esports World Cup. The event will be held annually, starting in Riyadh in summer 2024, featuring games like Dota 2 and Counter-Strike 2. This sports frenzy isn't just for show either. Even this is part of Vision 2030. Beyond its domestic transformation, Saudi Arabia is actively shaping its geopolitical role in the 21st century. This involves navigating complex relationships with major powers, managing its influence within the region, and securing its economic interests. This can be seen in two broad parts. First is the balancing act of the US and Russia in the oil equation. The long-standing US-Saudi alliance, anchored in oil and security cooperation, is currently facing challenges. While America remains a major arms supplier and security partner, concerns about human rights and regional stability create friction. Moreover, the United States has begun to prioritize diversifying its energy sources, potentially threatening its reliance on Saudi oil. On the other hand, Saudi Arabia has been increasing its collaboration with Russia, particularly within OPEC+. OPEC+ includes additional non-OPEC oil producers like Russia and Kazakhstan, aiming for broader collaboration and market influence. This partnership aims to stabilize oil prices and maximize revenue. However, this new alliance raises eyebrows in the West, particularly given Russia's human rights record and its invasion of Ukraine. This balancing act reflects Saudi Arabia's desire to secure its economic interests and assert its independence. The second part is China. China's growing economic and political influence has caught Saudi Arabia's attention. The kingdom sees China as a key partner for its Vision 2030 plan, seeking investments in infrastructure, technology, and renewable energy. For instance, China's state-owned construction giant CSCEC signed a $10 billion deal to build a futuristic city within NEOM, focusing on smart technologies and renewable energy. China, too, views Saudi Arabia as a crucial source of oil and a gateway to the Middle East. China is now Saudi Arabia's largest trading partner, surpassing the United States. Both countries share concerns about US dominance and prioritize economic development. This convergence fosters political cooperation on issues like regional security and the Iran nuclear deal. And finally, Vision 2030 aligns strategically with China's Belt and Road Initiative, creating a potential land and maritime trade corridor connecting the Middle East and Asia. While this Chinese-Saudi Arabia relationship offers economic benefits, it also raises concerns. Critics warn of a debt-trap diplomacy and question China's human rights record and expansionist ambitions.
تعد لتعميق التعاون مع جمهورية الصين الشعبية في جميع المجالات وإلى التنسيق وجهات النظر حيال القضايا الإقليمية والدولية.
Saudi Arabia clearly has its wings spread all over the place. Most recently, there's ongoing consideration within Saudi Arabia regarding an invitation to join the BRICS bloc, a move that could potentially enhance the economic strength of the group, consisting of China, Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa. Joining the BRICS may align with Saudi Arabia's aspirations to champion the global south. And what a better way to go about this than maintaining good relations with the two powerhouses, China and Russia.